everybody, welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com. I am the owner of NoDQ, Aaron Rift, here to talk about wrestling and answer some questions, so let's get right down to it. WWE recently hired 3 women from the Landstorm Wrestling Academy. Is this a sign that they might be taking women's wrestling more seriously? I think time will tell. We'll see what happens in the next couple of months if WWE ends up pushing these women and putting more of an emphasis on the wrestling as opposed to them being swimsuit models. I'm not sure what's going to happen because as long as Vince McMahon is still in charge, I see WWE staying the same way that it's always been and doing what they've been doing. So I'm not so sure that this means that things are going to start changing or WWE is going to start taking women's wrestling more seriously. But like I said, we'll see. What was your favorite Shawn Michaels match? Mine was him versus Taker at WrestleMania 25 and 26. I think my 2 favorite would have to be the first Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker at Bad Blood and, of course, WrestleMania 25. I don't think anything can top those 2 matches. Who is your guilty pleasure of a wrestler? As in a wrestler who is just bad but you can't not watch. Mine would be Jeff Jarrett. I wouldn't say Jeff Jarrett's a bad wrestler. I mean, he's not the most charismatic wrestler, but in big match situations with the right opponent, Jarrett's had some pretty good matches. So I would say my guilty pleasure is the Great Khali. I mean, he's awful. He's barely mobile, but for some reason when he's out there doing his chops and, roaring and acting all big and powerful, I don't know. It's entertaining in a clusterfuck kind of way. So yeah, I'd say Great Khali. Why is it taking so long for WWE to push Mark Henry like they are with his current storyline? Part of it just has to do with the SmackDown roster being really weak right now, and Mark Henry was just in the right place at the right time. And he's been with the company for so many years, so I'm sure that helped him when the situation called for there to be a new monster that they needed to push. Mark Henry's a guy they see as somebody who's been really loyal for all these years, and they decided to go with him and give him the big shot. So, and I'm glad for Mark Henry. I think he deserves it. He's worked hard for the company for so many years. He's put up with so much crap that they put him through. Sexual Chocolate, Sammy, Mae Young, all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm glad Mark Henry's getting his push, regardless of what the reasoning is behind it. In your opinion, are we slowly watching the death of TNA, or can you see TNA back on Monday nights going head-to-head with Raw? I do not see TNA going back head-to-head anytime soon, but what I do see is TNA staying the way that it's been for the past 7-8 years. 1 year from now, I suspect TNA will be in the exact same situation. They will be doing their 1.1 ratings. They will be doing their 2,000 people at house shows if they're lucky. They will be doing their 8,000 pay-per-view buys. And that's just the way it's going to be. So, it's weird because we've said for years, oh, this is going to be it for TNA. They're going to go down. They cannot stay around much longer. But, I mean, here's the bottom line. As long as TNA has Spike TV, I think they're safe. That television deal is live or die for TNA, in my opinion. Just like when WCW, the final nail in the coffin for WCW was when they lost their TV deal, when the people in Turner decided to cancel wrestling on the stations. That was the death blow for TNA. So I think TNA will be okay as long as they continue to have Impact Wrestling on Spike TV. When do you see WWE getting rid of William Regal and Goldust? After all, it's only a matter of time because they haven't done squat with him in the last 2+ years. Well, in Goldust's case, he's been injured, so that's why he hasn't been around. And for both guys, for both Regal and Goldust, they're both veterans and they're very well liked. So these are the kind of people that you want to have in your locker room to help out some of the younger guys. And yeah, I mean, Regal's always going to have, I think, a role there because he can mentor some of the younger guys and help them get over and learn the craft. So yeah, that's why those guys are still there, particularly Regal. Aaron, what was the point of WWE bringing back Jim Ross just to be a third wheel on commentary? He didn't even broadcast SummerSlam over Booker T. Well, I think they realize that they need Jim Ross. I mean, WWE has been trying to get rid of Jim Ross for so many years now. I guess Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn aren't a big fan of Jim Ross's look and his old school style of commentating, and they want like a fresh new young guy, and that's understandable that you want to try to get some new people in the commentary booth and change it up. But the fact is, nobody can touch JR in commentary, and just when Jim Ross was at Hell in the Cell, his commentary made such a big difference. And if it was just Michael Cole and Booker T, it wouldn't have been nearly as effective. So I think WWE knows this, but they at the same time they don't want to put JR in the top spot. They don't want to completely rely on him. They want him to be there, but at the same time they want to try to get somebody else as the lead announcer or whatever. And right now that's Michael Cole, and that's just the way it is. What's the best middle ground for using old wrestlers? TNA gets a lot of slack for bringing out Hogan and Flair, but WWE will get praise for Brett, Nash, Taker, etc. Is it just the age difference, or am I missing something? I think that the issue here is that in WWE, the guys like Bret Hart, they're part of the show, but they're not the focal point. And same thing with Undertaker. And Undertaker's not around that much. The thing is, in TNA, Hogan and Flair are constantly on the show. At least Hogan is these days. Hogan is the guy on the show. What the hell? Sass is attacking the skeleton. The skeleton. Is he haunted? I don't know. But anyways, back to the question. The thing with TNA is that Hogan is always on TV. He's always the focal point of every segment. And that's why people give TNA a hard time, because WWE is the focus in WWE is on John Cena, Randy Orton, the guys that are young, the guys that are bringing in the money. And Bret Hart is just a guy who's a legend, who's there and was part of a program, and he makes an appearance every now and then. But it's just Hogan, Hogan, Hogan nonstop in TNA, and that's where the criticism comes from. What's going on with the heat between the Young Bucks and WWE? Is there a possibility that they will sign? Well, I guess there was that whole issue where the Young Bucks wouldn't shake hands or whatever with some of the guys in the back and kind of rub people the wrong way. I'm not sure what the deal is. I've met the Young Bucks in person. They're really cool guys. I've seen them work on the Indies back in 2005, 2006 in front of 40 people, and those guys really busted their ass and worked their way up. So I'm not sure what the deal is, and RVD's a really cool guy, and I'm not sure where the miscommunication it was between these guys. It's just unfortunate, because I think the Young Bucks have a lot to offer, and unfortunately, I always thought that they would have trouble getting into WWE because of their size, but I would love to see them get a shot, and if guys like Paul London and Kid Cash and Brian Kendrick could get in WWE and have somewhat of a decent run, I think the Young Bucks could too. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on Norman Smiley? I like Norman. I think he's a good wrestler. He didn't have much of a personality until that's one of the good things Vince Russo did, is the whole big wiggle and kind of giving Norman Smiley some more of a character. I thought that was good stuff back in 1999, 2000. It was one of the few good things that Russo did was with Norman Smiley, in my opinion. All right, that about does it for No DQ&A video. Make sure you check out all the other videos. We're quickly approaching episode 50, so I'd like to thank you guys for watching and continuing to spread the word on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and stay tuned for more. And thanks for watching.